Out of the headlines come questions to puzzle our panel on its news. Take a look at this object. It figured in the news. Quentin Reynolds, can you tell us the story?
Well, I think so. Yes, that's one of those new kind of beauty masks that's designed to remove wrinkles from fair faces. Yes, that's what it is.
Do you believe that, or is Quentin Reynolds trying to bluff you? That's how we play our game as Simmons, makers of Beauty Rest, the world's most luxurious mattress, and Hide-A-Bed, the sofa that gives you an extra bedroom, presents the exciting panel game, It's News to Me. And here to play It's News to Me are John Henry Falk, raconteur and humorist, Nina Foch, star of the current MGM picture Sombrero, Quentin Reynolds, famous author and editor, our own delightful Anna Lee, and your host and moderator, news correspondent and commentator John Daly.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to It's News to Me. Question: have we really sharpened your interest in the news? Well, we'll soon find out with some guests here in the theater, and later on I'll call one of you viewers at home and give you a chance to answer a news question yourself for a modest prize. If you win, you will receive $50, which I'll now place in the parlor panelist prize box, plus any money that is lost by our guests here in the theater tonight. And later on we'll tell you how you can become eligible to participate at home. But now let's have our first studio contestant, please. This is Mr. John Best. What is your middle initial, sir?
F.
F. John F. Best. Where are you from, Mr. Best?
Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts.
Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. Well, good. We have some moral support for you, some folks from Massachusetts who are here. What do you do, sir?
I'm a school teacher.
A school teacher. Well, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. We like school teachers, and usually they they like us when they get through. Your job is a relatively simple one. All you've got to do is to judge the answers of the panel to news questions. You've got to decide whether the panelist is telling you the truth in giving the answer or trying to bluff you. Now, here are $30 with which to play the game. And every time your judgment about their answers is correct, I give you another $10. But every time you are bluffed or fooled by a panelist, I take $10 away and I put it over here in the parlor panelist prize box. Now, are you all ready for your first question?
Yes, sir.
Good. For the first question, everyone take a look at the screen. The lady that you see up there made a big hit this week when she showed the audience she could speak their language. Do you know that story, Nina Foch?
Well, that looks like our new ambassador to Italy who dumbfounded her audience this week as she gave her first speech in Italy, partly in Italian.
Do you accept that answer, Mr. Best?
No, I don't.
That is going to cost you, I am afraid, $10, and we will have to put that over here in the parlor panelist prize box.
I wouldn't have recognized that, sir.
No, well, actually, we took some care to find a picture of Mrs. Claire Booth Luce that wouldn't be too readily identified, and I think we've done very well. It is our new ambassador to Italy who arrived there this week, and she speaks Italian fluently, by the way. Was very warmly greeted when she landed. All right, now let's see what we can do with question number 2. For this question, it is necessary that you lend us 2 of your faculties, if you will, because I want you to both watch and listen to Frank Wayne as a soldier singing the blues.
Yes, sir, I got a brand new suit, and it fits real zoot. The material is colorful and strong. But Sam, oh, my busted back. Sam, what a waste of jack. Sam, oh, you made the coat all wrong.
And that is Frank Wayne, recently of the Metropolitan Opera, now of It's News to Me. And he seemed to have something to sing about, so suppose you tell us what it was all about, Anna Lee.
Well, Mr. Best, I think that the soldier there was complaining because his coat was too heavy. You see, it seems that the Army has recently manufactured a great many coats, something like $45 million worth of coats for the Army, and they're so heavy they make the soldiers very tired. So they're not going to use them. I don't know what they're going to make them into, some kind of new pup tent, I believe. But
You accept this answer, Mr. Best?
I do. That's right.
Well, I think in all of its larger areas it's correct, so that makes you $10 richer.
What about its smaller areas?
Well, in the small, they're not going to make them into pup tents. Actually, these are the now famous $45 million worth of overcoats that were too heavy and gadget-loaded for combat use, which was the intention. The testimony in Washington this week revealed that the Army had rushed the orders for these coats that were too heavy to walk in because a delay would have lost them control of the money. And they had built-in leggings, and they didn't work, and they had to modify the coats, and they're now been reissued for garrison or semi-dress wear. They are only called pup tents loosely, as we might say. All right, now let's see what you can do with this one, Mr. Best. Our friends in the panel have had a look at this here gadget. Now, you take a look at it, and it was in the news this week in the Middle West, where it was designed to protect the fighting man. Suppose you tell us all about it, John Henry Falk.
Well, that, Jonathan, it must be that new shield that has been perfected by the Navy or the flying Air Force to protect the bombers, jet bomber boys, when they have to bail out of those, those catapulted seats that they ride. They wear those things because a lot of the boys were getting their faces cracked up when they landed, of course, in a parachute.
You accept that answer, Mr. Best?
Oh, no.
You don't accept that answer. That makes you $10 richer. You shouldn't accept that answer.
Well, I'm awful happy he didn't, because a school teacher deserves every penny he can get anyway. He can get it.
All right, well, I think Quint Reynolds.
Yeah, I was wrong before about that being a beauty mask. I realize my mistake now. Because Rocky Marciano is nice, but he's not beautiful, and that's the mask designed to protect him while he's preparing for his heavyweight championship fight with Joe Walcott, because he hurt his nose a few weeks ago.
That's right, and it forced postponement of a fight. This time his handlers are making him wear this mask, and we want to thank the Everlast Sporting Goods Company, who designed the mask, for letting us show it to you on its News to Me.
And I think John Falk knew that. He just wanted to lie to his school teacher.
No, I wouldn't fool school teacher. I love
Well,
it.
I like your story, Quinn. I think it's a very good idea to have a mask like that.
Well, it's a true story, too.
Some
And
girls.
now, a look at our scoring board tells us, Mr. Best, that you have won from the Simmons people $40. Congratulations. It's nice to have had you with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our guest. Nice to see you. And if you would like to see It's News to Me and perhaps be on the program as a contestant, write for tickets to It's News to Me, CBS, 485 Madison Avenue, New York 22, New York. Well, look at our own delightful Anna Lee. It looks as though if she knows something we don't.
Well, I do, John. I know how wonderful it's been to sleep on a Beauty Rest mattress all these years, but now I know why it's so wonderful. Because now I know Beauty Rest inside and out. Just watch this. These two mattresses look a lot alike from the outside, don't they? But let's rip them open and see the inside story of why you sleep more comfortably on a Beauty Rest. Because that's where the comfort comes from, inside. And here is what I mean. Now, this is the special Beauty Rest construction that makes the difference in comfort. Each one of these Beauty Rest springs is individually pocketed. Now, watch this test. If you place a glass of water on one of the springs of a Beauty Rest and press down next to it, the water doesn't spill. That's because each spring in a Beauty Rest acts completely independently, supports every different weight of your body the way it needs to be supported. Now, let's cut into the ordinary mattress and see what it looks like inside. See how the springs are tied together? When you press down next to the glass of water, of course it spills. Because when pressure is put on one spring, the others sag with it. But there's no sagging on a Beauty Rest. The independent springs keep your spine in the perfect position for healthful rest. Take my advice. If you want real sleeping comfort, choose the world's finest mattress, Beauty Rest, made only by Simmons, the greatest name in sleep.
And now may we have our next studio contestant, please. This is Mrs. Joanne Lee, is that right?
That's right.
Where are you from, Mrs. Lee?
Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
Yes, that's-
Well, that's fine. You've been married very long?
Well, 8 months.
8 months. Well, if you've been running a man for 8 months, I'm sure that there's nothing around here that's
yeah.
going to give you any trouble. You heard the rules of the game explained. There are the $30 with which you play. Are you all ready now for your first question?
Yes.
All right, everyone, please take a look at this here poster. You can see this? I'm holding it in my hand, and of course you see these little pictures up here which you can see reproduced on our screen so that they're very clear. This poster announced a party in Europe this week where the watchword would be, "Let 'em eat steak." Suppose you tell us all about it, Anna Lee.
Oh, well, of course, actually, the party was given by ex-King Farouk. But he cribbed the idea of the party from an Italian who gave a party there last year, I think. And in order to build up goodwill in this village where he lives, which I think he needs, he advertised that at his Casa Andrea, I think is where he lives, he was going to give this big party, and he would invite the villagers to have some of the steak. They were going to cook a whole bull, I think, for this party. And I'm not sure what the Italian means, but it's something like, "Come along to my house and have some steak."
Do you accept that answer, Mrs. Lee?
I do.
You do? It was a lot of bull. That's going to cost you. We put that $10 in the parlor panel as prize box. It would seem that Mr. Falk has the right answer. Mr. Falk?
As a matter of fact, it's still a lot of bull, John. It's a new party in Italy by George that has that believes that everybody ought to have a paid vacation. There says that's their standard there. Paid vacations, sick benefits, a beefsteak when they want it. And
It's one of the new parties for the coming Italian elections, and it calls itself the Beefsteak Party, and it's campaigning on 30 hours of school for children, with the rest of it done on television and radio, and as you say, all sorts of easier ways of living. But best of all, it promises a pound of beefsteak free every day to every citizen, along with free sugar and coffee.
I think one of the lovely things about it is that in Italian, beefsteak is bistecca, and in French it's beefsteak. So that in every country has accepted the English version of the word beefsteak. I'd notice it on the sign there in the middle somewhere. There's written bistecca.
I think it's a very good party to belong to.
Well, inside of you, beefsteak's beefsteak, no matter what nationality you are.
Well, actually, the Italian over and above that fatted calf says, "This is our symbol." At the top and at the bottom it says, "Life is a calf." All right, now let's see what we can do with that second question, Mrs. Lee. And for this question, I want all of you, if you will, to take a look at this button. You can see it. I'm holding it in my hand. You can see it reproduced on the screen again so that it'll be clearer for you. It was in the news this week when some government men shot it out to see who was best. Do you know that story, Quentin Reynolds?
Yes, that was something that Joint Chiefs of Staff pulled down in the Pentagon a couple of weeks ago. They decided there were too many officers been sitting around the Pentagon too long. They'd probably forgotten how to shoot a gun. So they had an order that they all had to go down and have a refresher course in shooting. I think it was at Fort Belvedere down south somewhere. And when the boys took it in good spirit, not many of them shot very well after sitting at desks. So they came back, and a lot of them got together and just said, "Don't ask me what I shot. Don't ask me my score."
Do you accept that answer, Mrs. Lee?
No, I don't.
You don't accept that
You
answer?
don't?
You don't? It makes you $10 richer. That's fine. All right, Anna Lee, what is this famous
I
button?
saw a picture with General Eisenhower was wearing that when he was playing golf with Taft.
That's
with
right.
Senator
This is
Taft.
the button that was handed to President Eisenhower by newsmen just before he started his round of golf with Senator Taft this week down in Augusta, Georgia. And if you look up at our screen now, you'll soon be able, there it is, you see a picture of the president pinning on the button at the start of that round. It got to be a rather famous golf round because the best vacation score the president made was inadvertently given out by Bobby Jones after it had been announced that the president's score would not be revealed. He beat Senator Taft by shooting an 86, finally breaking 90, which made both the president and a lot of the citizens who elected him president very happy. And we want to say thanks to Jim Haggerty, who is the press secretary to the White House, for permitting us to show you the president's own button on its News to Me tonight. We will return it. All right, now let's get to question number 3. And for this question, my friend Frank Wayne comes back. He of the Metropolitan Opera used to carry a spear or a barrel, I've forgotten which, but now he is a bachelor on the loose.
Hello, Cindy Lou. This is your Arkansas lover boy. Stop chewing on the fatback, girl, and listen to what I got to say. Say, remember last night when I told you your eyes were like limpid cesspools? Uh-huh. And then I said your hair was like wet straw on a muddy day. Uh-huh. And then I said your lips were like rosebuds, all covered with thorns. Uh-huh. Then I asked you to be my wife. Well, Cindy Lou Honeychild, today I got my tax bill, and it was cheaper than I thought it would be. So, Cindy Lou, all I can say is, forget it.
Well, that really sounds like true love in the Frank Wayne manner. I wonder if you can tell us what the story is, John Henry Falk.
Yeah. Well, that must, you see, the girls down there in Arkansas, as the unmarried ones that couldn't latch on to a husband, found the bachelors kind of slow at popping the question and got one of the representatives in the Arkansas legislature to slap a tax on bachelors, you know, to kind of prod them along to get out of that state of bachelorhood. I think the bill lost, but it was a pretty good notion.
You accept that answer, Mrs. Lee?
No.
Beg pardon?
No.
Oh.
Honey, it's so. It happened in
Sorry, it's going to cost you $10. Goes to the parlor prize panelist box. Actually, that's the true story. A bill which would have made the bachelors in the state of Arkansas pay $750 a year in annual tax was slapped down. It was started as a gag, actually, by State Representative Jim Bruton, who found himself deluged with complaints, particularly from a group of unmarried girls who had formed a society named the Association for the Prevention of Alarming and Stampeding Bachelors Beyond the Hopes of Arkansas's Unmarried Women. Some of the bachelors had threatened to leave town. Well, a look at the scoreboard tells us that you've won from the Simmons people $20. Hope
Thank
you had a
you
lot of
very
fun. It
much.
was nice to have you on its news to me. And now we come to the special feature on It's News to Me, which we call Eyewitness, in which the panel cross-examines a guest who actually saw a famous news event take place. Since tonight's eyewitness might be recognized by the panel, our guest will answer the questions by remote control from backstage. Mr. Eyewitness, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, panel, if you can uncover this news event that's coming up in 2 minutes, our guest will receive $50. If you don't, he beats you and receives $100. Mr. Eyewitness, will you please give me just the month and the day of the news event at which you were an eyewitness?
April the 17th.
Before we get started, let's let the folks who are viewing at home know what the event is. But, panel, you know the rules. You may question in turn for 15 seconds at a time, but when the bell sounds, the next panelist takes up the questioning. You should be all ready. So you, John Henry Falk, start now.
Hey there, Mr. Eyewitness. Did it happen in the United States?
Yeah.
Did it happen in the last 10 or 15 years? 10 years.
Yes.
Did it happen in the eastern part of the United States?
Yes.
Was it a happy event?
Yes.
Was it the beginning of something?
No.
Were a lot of people involved?
Yes.
Were you in this or just watching?
Can't be answered yes or no.
Can't be answered yes or no?
That can't be. You want
What
to
do you
split
mean
it?
it can't be answered?
You want it, were you in it or just watching it? We can't answer
Oh,
that
what,
yes
were
or no.
you in it?
All right?
Yes.
All
Were you
right,
a
Mr. Ritter.
participant?
Yes.
That's been
Did
it.
it happen in the last year?
Yes.
It happened on this April 17th. Yes?
Yes.
Oh.
All right, Miss
One
Lee.
this year.
Mr. Phantom Voice, are you in the entertainment business?
Yes.
In sport?
Yes.
In baseball? My favorite team? Are you a Yankee?
Yes.
It's me.
No,
Oh,
Mr.
it's,
Falk.
I know.
No, no,
Oh, that must be Dynamite Mickey Mantle. Or
My favorite Yankee.
Well, he don't need the extra $50, John. Now, wait a minute, we haven't got the event yet.
No,
He's wanting
actually,
to knock that
I think
longest
that
home run.
getting the event is implicit in just identifying our guest.
Can't
April
we say that on that
17th,
day he hit a home run of 535 feet at the Washington ball?
567 feet.
Very
A
Very
good
longest.
That's right.
home run
April
that's ever
17th, 1953. Now I think it's time we met our eyewitness. Will you come out, please? Mickey Mantle. Well, now, Mickey, I think we know how you were an eyewitness. You hit the longest home run on record, 567 feet right out of Griffith Stadium, right?
Wait a minute, John. I think since that happened, I've read a couple of pieces in the paper. I know Babe Ruth hit one in Tampa, Florida one time. It went 587 feet.
Was that official? I mean, was
That
it
was in
official?
spring training, and then in Detroit, in a regular season game, they say he hit one 600 feet.
Well, all I know, Mickey, is that the ball and the bat, which figured in this home run of yours are going up to Cooperstown or in Cooperstown, and as far as I'm concerned, that makes it kind of legal, doesn't it, Quint? You're a sportsman.
Beside that walk you got today, really won the ball game for us, didn't it, up there at the stadium?
Mickey's always won.
Then Woodland got up and hit a home run, and the poor Senators got licked because Mickey walked instead of hit today. He can either bat your brains out or walk your brains out.
Well, Mickey, let's talk something about the batting department. I want to steal some secrets for you. What makes the home run? Why is it that I hit Texas leaguers if I hit at all and you slap them out of the park?
Well, John, I think mostly it's because of timing more than power or anything like that, because I know I've seen a lot of little men hit long balls, and I think that I know a lot of time that I've swung a bat real hard and couldn't hit the ball near as far as sometimes when I'm just trying to meet the ball. So I think it's timing.
You mean when you get up and really try to hit a home run more often than not, you don't?
I think so. I strike out most of the time.
No, that's you don't. Well, actually, you think that it's basically timing and that strength isn't the most important thing in the world.
I think it's timing, yeah.
Well, now, I understand that there's a little Mickey Mantle coming up. We want to congratulate you first on your recent fatherhood and ask you also how does your youngster?
Well, I guess he's all right. I never have got to see him yet.
But as far as you know, he's doing fine on all counts, huh?
Yes, that's what I hear.
Well, thanks very much, Mickey. I will try to take this timing problem out with the next time I get a hold of a baseball bat and a baseball and see if I can't do a little bit better, because I've got some boys who'd like me a lot better if I could do it half as well as you do.
I imagine they appreciate you.
You think they appreciate it? Well, it's awful good of you to at least give me the formula for doing it, and if I can figure it out on the basis of timing and start hitting home runs, I'll come and join you on the Yanks.
You start by being 21 like Mickey is, John.
Well, actually,
And
Mickey...
unkindest cut of all, Quint.
Quint, you know, Mickey's an author, too. Got one of his books here, The Mickey Mantle Story by Mickey Mantle, is told to Ben Epstein. So I think perhaps if I read this book, this might help me, too. Mickey, thanks
think it would.
a great deal for being our eyewitness on tonight's It's News to Me. It's a grand occasion. And now, if you were an eyewitness to some important news event and would like to be on It's News to Me, write us a letter, tell us about it, send the information to It's News to Me, CBS 485 Madison Avenue, New York 22, New York. And now our own delightful Anna Lee has some more words of wisdom about sleep.
Ah, what a wonderful feeling at the end of a long, busy day to slip into bed and relax in luxurious Beauty Rest comfort. Now, the secret of Beauty Rest comfort is inside the mattress, where Beauty Rest is really different. Each of the springs in a Beauty Rest is individually pocketed, so each spring acts independently. Just watch this test. If you place a glass of water on one of the springs of a Beauty Rest and press down next to it, the water doesn't spill. This Beauty Rest spring action keeps your spine properly supported. That's why you sleep so comfortably on a Beauty Rest. Why don't you choose Beauty Rest? It costs only $69.50.
And now let's have another studio contestant on It's News to Me. Yes, glad to see you. Lieutenant Winston Wrinkle. Where are you from, Lieutenant?
I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, sir.
Fort Worth, Texas? Fine. Good. We got a Texas man over there. You heard me explain the rules of this game.
That's right, sir.
All right. Here are the $30 with which you play. Would you be good enough to come in just a bit further so that we can hear you very clearly? And are you all ready for your first question now?
Yes, sir.
All right. The first question involves this little here ashtray that I'm now holding in my hand. You all can see it. It played a part this week in a news story in which a big Washington executive ordered his luxury quarters closed down to save money. Do you know that story? Well, you're nodding your head. Quentin Reynolds.
I think I do. That looks little, but it's a very valuable antique owned by Charles E. Wilson. It shows the high cost of working for the government. That last week he auctioned off his beach house somewhere, Grosse Point or Grosse Point near Detroit. And this was one of the things auctioned off in his beach house there.
And do you accept that answer, Lieutenant Wrinkle?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's going to cost you $10. Have to put that over here in the parlor panelist box. Who knows the right answer? All right, Anna Lee.
I'm sure that must be from the Williamsburg, which General Eisenhower is going to not use as an economy move. And I know everybody's very sorry about it because the Navy's done such a wonderful job.
That's absolutely right. This ashtray is from the presidential yacht Williamsburg, which President Eisenhower has decided he's going to give up as part of his economy program. However, it's going to be very, very useful the next few weeks because the Williamsburg will be used by the American Red Cross to take disabled veterans from hospitals in the vicinity of Washington on cruises on the Potomac. We want to thank Commander Beach of the White House staff for sending us the ashtray from the ship, which has served the executive office so well. And by the way, I know another gentleman whose name we ought to mention, the commanding officer who was responsible for that ship's grand condition and outstanding performance is Commander Julian P. Burke, a very fine naval officer. Well, now, Lieutenant, I see that we haven't got time to ask you that last two questions. I know you knew the answers, so there is the answer money. And you've won from the Simmons people $40, and our thanks for being our guest on this news. Nice to see you. And now it's time for our parlor panelist question. Our operators have placed a phone call to one of our viewers at home, and tonight's call is to Mrs. Eleonora W. Yergin. That's 138 Alpine Terrace, San Francisco, California. Is that right, Mrs. Yergin? Good. Well, this is John Daly on It's News to Me in New York. I'm going to ask you a news question. If you know the answer, you will win the $90 that's in the parlor panelist prize box. Now, here is your question. The prisoners of war who were returned to the United Nations side at Panmunjom this week were immediately taken to a specially constructed area in Korea for processing and medical examinations. Can you tell me the name of that specially constructed area? I'll ask you for the answer in just 30 seconds after a brief message from next week's sponsor, Jergens Lotion.
Look at this captivating woman. She washes clothes, does the dishes, yet her hands are lovely. After each household chore, she smooths on pure white Jergens lotion. Jergens leaves hands heavenly soft, never coats them with a messy, greasy film like ordinary creams and lotions. Instead, Jergens lotion instantly penetrates the upper layer, gives your hands beautifying moisture where it counts. Remember, Jergens lotion, because you care for your hands.
All right, Mrs. Yergin in San Francisco, California. Do you know the name that has been given to this prisoner of war reception area in Korea? What is it? You say Freedom Village. Well, you're absolutely right. Very good. That's wonderful. Freedom Village, specially built near Munsan, where the United Nations prisoners of war are taken for repatriation and also for processing. Pictures of it we have seen in our papers for quite a long time. So you have won the $90 that's in the prize box, and Simmons is very happy to send it to you. Thanks for being our parlor panelist tonight, and good night. Good to talk to you. And if you would like a chance to answer a news question by telephone, send us a postcard with your name, your address, the telephone number, and the TV station on which you see the program. Send the card to It's News to Me, CBS, 485 Madison Avenue, New York, 22, New York. And so we wind up proceedings on tonight's session of It's News to Me. We certainly hope that you've enjoyed the program. We also hope that we've sharpened your interest in the news. Until next week, then, speaking for Simmons, makers of Beauty Rest and Hide-A-Bed, this is John Daly saying good night for Anna Lee, Quentin Reynolds, Nina Foch, and John Henry Falk. We certainly hope we'll see you all again next week on It's News to Me.
It's News to Me has been presented by Beauty Rest, made only by Simmons, the greatest name in sleep. This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. Produced in association with the CBS Television Network. Annalee's Gown by Hannah Troy. This is Bill Rogers speaking for Simmons. Be sure to join us next week when Jergens Lotion, Jergens, because you care for your hands, will present It's News to Me.
This is the CBS Television Network.